Welcome to another episode of Start to Finish, fueling discipline, focus, and the right mindset. So, this morning I went out for a run. It was it's always amazing when you go out and do some exercises. You are stretching your mind, you are stretching your muscles, and the more you do it, the more you get better, the more those muscles are willing to stretch and gives you more momentum, but the less you do this, you then begin to lose momentum. Every time let's say you go for a run uh, today, then you don't do it, or you don't do any form of exercise for the next 3 weeks, then you try to go back for a run, it will be so painful. Every part of your body will respond badly. That's number one. Number two, you would have lost momentum that you have gained before. But if you do it consistently now, it means the more you do it, the more you gain more momentum, the more you become faster, the more you become quicker with your legs. And in whatever form of exercise that you're doing, if you want to be losing weight, you don't see the progress, but you're gaining momentum. You only see it after consistently continue to do exactly the same thing over and over. So I'm more of a cyclist. I enjoy cycling more, a wannabe pro, and running is something that I do here and there. I did it last week and I did it again today. So I just finished up and I just jumped into this podcast, because I'm still fresh. The ideas are still flowing through me. So last week when I went in there, I was really frustrated. There were a lot of things that were going on negatively, that were impacting us negatively. I think 2-3 weeks ago, one of our vehicles was involved in an accident, a van, and it's a setback. And a week later, I think around last week, the other vehicle just did not get up. It was working fine, perfectly fine all this while, and it just went dead. Now I have two vans that are down. I have this little small business that I work with, and I'm losing here. I'm losing. I've already lost momentum. Obviously, I have to find a way to continue servicing my customers, which we've done. But the first vehicle, we had to get it quickly panel bitted. Unfortunately, we are one of those who go with third party. You think you are clever. Nothing will happen to your vehicle. You're giving these people a lot of money, so you don't put a full cover. So the damage wasn't that great. Thank God for that. So we did the panel bidding quickly, put it back on the road. Now the other problem comes in. This vehicle is not working, and all these are frustrations. These are setbacks. The momentum is lost. You are bleeding money somewhere else because you want to make sure your clients are serviced. So last week I went in for a run. I just said, okay, fine. Let me go out there and start running and start thinking on how I can resolve these problems. So I got some solutions through running. It was fun. It unlocked a lot of things, just like even cycling when I do it. But this time I just thought, I just want to use my body. I just want to use without any support structure. So I did that. So today again, I went out there. I enjoyed myself. Last week, I think I did about 12 kilometers in 1 hour 55. I know, right? I know for a pro, they can do it much quicker, but hey, come on. I'm starting off at this. So today when I did it at 1 hour 40 minutes. So I was 15 minutes faster. Whoo! I can clap hands for myself for that. That's good progress. So the analogy of running is amazing. I'm not only targeting on running on the flat ground. I'm targeting to run uphill, downhill, uphill, downhill, and maybe flats in that sort of way. So when I went out there today, um, it got clear to me about momentum. Sometimes we lose momentum as we go uphill. It requires you to put in more pressure. It requires you to add an oomph to make sure you push up that hill. So these are the experience that I was pushing through, and I went up the hill. I had to give everything that I have to climb up a steepy hill. And on the other side, it's like downhill. That one doesn't need you to put in a lot of pressure, but it requires you to have more stamina, more control, more experience. Otherwise, you end up falling. So when you're going now downhill, your legs are loose, you're literally, you need to control your body in a certain position to make sure you don't go too fast. Otherwise, you roll over, crash and burn. So up you requires the pressure. Down you requires the a certain stamina to make sure you don't fall. This momentum thing is, it's an idea that I got again, as I go around. And mainly it was about losing. That, oh man, oh boy, I've lost momentum here with this business here. And I was looking again at recording this podcast. I have lost momentum. There was a time when it's exciting, I'm doing this thing, but there are days when you get maybe busy and sometimes you're just not motivated to do it, but you have to push through those days. At least record more content, when you're feeling like doing it, so that in those moments it's not happening, you have enough to push out. So I remember I did January, February, then March. I think I only did one episode. I lost about 3 weeks because my target is to push out per week, right? And April, I did very well. This month that I'm just completing, May, I did miserably bad. I did, like the whole month, I did not encourage you guys. I did not share what I'm supposed to share. I've made a commitment to myself, and you feel like a loser when you don't do what you're supposed to do. I've lost momentum. I've lost progress. And it's on me. It's not on anyone else. And half the time, that's the thing. You see yourself losing that momentum, losing that speed, and you don't do anything about it. That's why it's important to be intentional about life, so about your journey, where you want to go, where you want to see yourself. When you're intentional, you begin to notice all these spaces. You begin to notice the graph is not moving correctly. What do I need to do to gain that momentum? To get back to the right speed that I need to achieve the progress that I want. So looking at that, I have to make some changes. And the beauty of losing momentum is you haven't come to a stop. You're not in stasis mode. You are still moving, but not at the right speed that you want to get you to your destination. You've literally slowed down. The car is broken down. It's still functioning. It can give some juice, but it's not giving sufficient juice. So you need to rejuvenate yourself to make sure the juice comes out. Whenever you want to apply pressure, you apply it. Whenever you want to slow down, you slow down. Just like today, as I was running, you're running, you're just feeling your body moving, right? And when you're climbing, you just have to push yourself up that hill. So momentum is movement. That's what I can simply put it for myself. You being in motion. In my research, it says momentum is inertia in motion. When we want to get deeper into physics, momentum is equals to mass times velocity. So comparison. A container ship that is carrying a lot of mass. It's about to dock on a docking place where they want to offload. Obviously, they're trying to slow down. It has more momentum that it needs some tugboats to help it dock nicely. Otherwise, it will push through and cause an accident. The same thing with a haulage truck. It has more momentum because it's carrying load. Unlike a small vehicle, you have more control over it. You're going down, you have more control over it. But you realize when it's a haulage truck, it has climbed up the hill, going down, it has more momentum. It can go even faster than the small vehicle because your small vehicle, you have control over it. When a child kicks a ball, it doesn't cause any damage. But when Lionel Messi or Garland or Ronaldo kick a ball, it has more momentum that the keeper is not strong enough, it will hit the back of the net. Just like when you pick a stone and you throw it, it can hit the glass of a house or of a stationary vehicle because it has more momentum. Or a bullet. When it comes out of a gun, it can knock off the other guy who's even wearing a bulletproof vest because of the momentum. So it's important to be in a position to control that momentum, to allow control. Okay, I think I'm moving too fast. I think let me control the speed. Or to analyze and know, I think we are going too slow. We need to increase the momentum. Imagine you're running your business. When you started off, it was only yourself, maybe, and a couple of friends. Then the business started growing. Gaining momentum. A lot of things start to change. You need to add more employees. You have a bigger market share. Things are happening and like you are in full speed ahead. But at some point during that journey, you lose momentum. You start losing customers. Something has not been done right. Maybe you don't have the right qualified people. If it's a vehicle, you need to get it checked out. You need to get it serviced. Because on the uphill, when you increase the acceleration, it should increase the momentum. Obviously, there's a force of gravity, but it has to increase the momentum. And it's important to know when to accelerate and know when to not accelerate. And for me, looking at this podcast, I drop the ball, I have to pick it up, and I have to start running with it. I have to shift the gear. If it means I need people to support me on this, I have to do that because I need that momentum going. I need to keep going. And most times we are losing momentum. We are losing, the rhythm. You're a sales rep and you've been acing it. You've been getting so many customers because you've been pushing so hard. You've been making calls. All of a sudden you drop the ball. You are not making the calls. You lose 2-3 weeks of not making calls every single day. You already lost the momentum. You don't have the right sales team or the right customer care team to handle inquiries or queries. You begin to lose momentum. Clients begin to look for someone else to give them the service that you could have given them. You're doing your schoolwork and you stop reading. You start focusing on Netflix. You start doing things that are not adding value to you. You lose momentum. Sometimes you lose momentum because of situations surrounding you. You're at work and you get fired. You begin to lose momentum. But sometimes we have to pivot now and find a way to keep moving. It's easier to increase momentum on a moving vehicle than to work with something that is stationary. So let's say if I'm running, I'm jogging nicely up the hill. If I decide to stop whilst I'm climbing up, the engine can get cold, and to start over to climb that hill will be very difficult. So that's why it's important to push through it. It's important to find the rhythm, find the momentum to get you to where you're supposed to get to. Just like when you're cycling, if I shifted that in that aspect, there are times you don't just start by sprinting. You only sprint when you are reaching the finish line. Any other time, you need to find the right rhythm, the right speed, maintain that speed. And when you notice, oh, it's now 10 kilometers towards there, you begin to increase the speed. By the time you see the finish line, your legs are going. Now you shift the gear, you get into that mode of Usain Bolt, and you push through it all the way to the finish line. Because the momentum that is required there to get to the finish line should be fast enough. So many businesses have lost momentum and never gained it. You literally see, I'm losing it, and you don't do anything about it. On a personal level, you see, I am losing here, and you don't do anything about it. Even if it's caused by situations, you still have control on the final outcome. If you don't make an effort to change the outcome, it means you lose. Progress will increase and decrease in your journey. We spoke of running up the hill. When you are running up the hill, you lose a little bit of momentum. But if you do it consistently, you will know the trick on how to maneuver and still win running up the hill. There are causes of losing momentum. There's something that can cause you to lose momentum, to want to sleep more and not do the work, to not want to make the calls. Sometimes it's the expectations. Is your goal realistic enough? Or you've shut yourself on the foot from the onset. So the moment now you're pushing and grinding, and you're pushing and grinding, and you seem not to be getting anywhere, can you sit down and review your goal? Purpose. Maybe you've lost your purpose, your why for waking up every morning. Things change, life move on, but you also have to change the way you think. Because when you lose your purpose, you lose something to live or die for. You have to find that purpose, that thing that will wake you up in the morning, that thing that will push you even if when you don't feel like doing it. One thing I began to understand about life is that life is about seasons. Seasons come and seasons go. There's always a season where you plant a seed, and there's always a season where you nurture that seed. You don't see anything, but when you continue nurturing, each seed is different. Some seeds stay in the ground for a very long time. We know that maize seed, you put it in the ground, after a few weeks or months, it just starts sprouting. Then you have a seed of a bamboo tree. It's planted. It stays underground for close to 3 years, if not more. Then it just shoots. For the next 5 years, it grows. It doesn't grow very high. Afterwards, it shoots up. So that's the thing. You need to understand those dynamics about seed time, about harvest time. Where are you? And as those seasons change, you come to a season where you're going to harvest. But the question, are you prepared to go through the harvest? Life has to be about purpose driven. Life has to be about progress, about being patient, about waiting, but never losing the right momentum that you require to get you to your destination. When you lose focus, lose sight of your goals, you will lose momentum. And the interesting thing about momentum, You know when you're losing it. You know when you're losing progress. You know when you're losing traction. You know when you're losing speed. But the question is, what are you willing to do about it to change those dynamics? When the plan seems to be taking a long time to come to pass, review where you are. Review, these things. Review the plans if they are not working and make some changes or something that works. Because small wins sometimes is all that you need. A bigger goal by itself is not sufficient. You need to break it down into small size bites. Something that you begin to see traction on. Something that you begin to see, oh, I've moved from point A to point B and this is my progress. So many times we try to complicate things for ourselves. The kind of ideas that we are pushing out there, we are complicating it. I was talking to someone recently. I said, you know what? We complicate even the kind of business that we want to involve ourselves into. Transport business is easy. It's cash business. Food business is easy. Everyone is eating meat every single day. Why not do chickens? You might have a big vision, but there's something small, something sizable enough that when you begin to do that thing, it will help you achieve the bigger picture. Sometimes we try to go with the big picture and work ourselves backwards, but it doesn't work. It's the other way around. Start small, start growing, in dribs and drabs, and continue moving in that way. Sometimes you might end up even doing something that is totally different from your trade. But as long as it allows you to raise the revenue, to gain momentum, and still get your degree program, why not? When you face disappointments, you lose momentum. When you start and stop, you lose momentum. You start something, just like what I was telling you about the podcast. I stopped for like a month. I stopped for 3 weeks. I did the month, and now I've stopped for a whole month. If I stop again, I might end up stopping for 2 months. And before you know it, you lose and lose until you stop doing that thing that you're supposed to do. Identity. When you don't know who you are, when you don't know who you want to become, when that identity is not tied to your purpose, you will surely lose momentum. The young generation is suffering because they don't have an identity. They don't set the identity of what they want to be in life. Now they are facing drugs, they are facing peer pressure. A lot of things derail a person with no purpose who doesn't understand their identity. If you know who you are, and if you know where you want to end up, if you know the impact that you want to make in the world, that alone will give you the momentum that you need to continue going even when things don't look your way. That gives you the power to say no to drugs, to say no to doing things that will make you lose that momentum. Journal and write your to-do list. Every single day should be planned for. We wake up to a day and we just want to wing it. You're supposed to make calls, but to who you are supposed to make calls, you have not written it down. What task are you supposed to do today? You have not written it down. So the day comes, a friend walks into your office, you start talking nyas all the way to the end of the day. You notice you've lost 5 hours because you have not been doing that thing that is moving you forward. So have a to-do list. Know exactly, I've planned to rest. Tomorrow, I'm not doing anything. I've planned to work tomorrow, and I'm going to do A, B, C, D, F, G. Everything is written down. And it's always said, think on paper. When you think on paper, you will never forget things. But when you don't have anything written down, I go through that a lot, whereby if I don't have anything written down or a plan for that particular day, have the time, events will take over. You know, whatever you're doing may be important or not important, but when you have a clear plan, you always be working on the most important things, things that are adding value, and you see yourself gaining that momentum and not losing it. Don't lose your energy, enthusiasm. It's good to exercise. Keep that adrenaline up. Go out, exercise. I did that this morning. I feel fantastic. And I just jumped into recording this because I feel the energy and the ideas were just like bombarding my mindset. So I'm like, you know what? I need to get it out there before I lose it. So if you allow yourself to exercise, build the right energies, build the right enthusiasm, build the right creativity. Your kids, your spending time walking, spending time with loved ones can improve the enthusiasm. What are your hobbies? Spend time with your hobbies, because the more you do that, you don't lose traction. Get into the garden when ideas have gone out of the window. Start digging, start doing something. Increase the right energy, increase the enthusiasm, and you will not lose your momentum. That's why it's always say start your day with an exercise, start your day with doing something that wake your mind up, wake your body up, then you're good to go. So no daily plan, easy to digress to meaningless things. I will decide when I get there. Just like no journaling. There's nothing called I'll decide when you get there. You know your goal. It's clear what it requires you to do. When you have broken it down into daily doables and you begin to do it, there's no winging it. I'll wing it. Someone said luck is when opportunity meets preparedness. When you are ready for an opportunity, you will seize the moment. When you're not ready for an opportunity, you'll miss it. So how do we keep that momentum? We've talked about losing it. And most times it's me or it's situations around me. But the majority of the time, I have control. There's a statement that I like a lot. It says, I'm the master of my destiny, the captain of my fate. So I'm the master of my destiny. I'm the one who controls. Yes, situations may come and dictate a story for me. Just like a soccer star or a super athlete have an accident or lose their leg, or there's an ailment that comes and you lose momentum, like everything just comes crashing down. But beyond that, life has to go on. Life keeps moving. It will never wait for you because you had this ailment, because you had this setback. You have to pivot. You have to find a solution and the way out. That's the journey about life. That's the thing you don't see very far, but you can only see here. There are exciting stories of men and women. Someone lost his hand. There's a gentleman that I was watching the other time. I think he paralyzed his whole side here from American football. I'm forgetting the name. He's expecting to take his family out of the ghetto, man. This is his ticket out. And you're playing high school football. You haven't even been drafted into playing professional football as yet. And you go paralytic. What do you do? Life has just handed you some lemons. You have to find a way out. You have to find something that will help you to continue gaining momentum. You pivot. And he did pivot. He's a motivational speaker right now. He talks of his story. When I heard this story, man, I had goosebumps. And there are many people like this. We have lost, but they kept going. But there are others, a story is written, and that story is not the story that you wanted. They lose momentum. They die disgruntled. They die broken because they never found a way back to gaining that momentum, to gaining that progress. They went into stasis mode. When a haulage truck is carrying on a trailer, there are big stones. I think they are used for sculpture. And when the stone, if the haulage truck hasn't reached its destination and for some situation involves in an accident, tipped over and lose that stone is left by the sideways. It's never picked up, because it's expensive to then go back or bring a crane from wherever and just to lift that stone, put it back on another. So they said, look, whatever, just leave it by the roadside. And becomes stagnant there. It becomes part of the environment and things grows around it. Before you know it, it's just bushier over there because you were stagnant. That's why it's important to keep the momentum going, to keep the progress going, to keep pushing through those challenges. So how do you keep momentum? Eat the frog. I had this issue. It's most times we want to do the easy things. It's easy to sit down and scroll through your phone. It's easy to sit down and watch Netflix. It's easy to avoid doing the things that can move you forward. It's easy. I can live in this fantasy land and walk in that fantasy land and enjoy it, but it's not going to make progress for me. It's not going to then you look months down the line, years down the line, and oh boy, I've lost it. I've lost the momentum. You're at a place where you can't now make the progress that you need. So eat the frog in the morning. Do those things that you dread doing, but when you do them, they will move you forward. Give yourself to reading books. I've seen my wife, even if when she feels like, you know what, I'm tired, she's reading. She's joining that core and doing what she's supposed to do. Because she's going to school. She wants to gain this recognition. So eat the frog. That thing that is too heavy for you, just do that thing first. The simpler things, look, you can always do it any other time. But focus on the things that matters, that add value to you. You will never lose momentum. When you eat the frog, every morning you wake up, you do the thing that matters. Creative thinking. Create an opportunity to think creatively. As I've said, you spend time with your family, increase the right energy, go out, go for a walk, get in the woods, by yourself, with yourself, put on some earphones and just start enjoying nature, man, and just love it. If you maintain the same routine and not change your routine, you do things over and over and over and over again, and you wonder why the creativity is not flowing through you. You wonder why your mind is not unlocking new ideas. So just this, this morning, there's an idea. It's a big idea. I don't know whether it's really big, but this exciting idea just came to my thoughts. I'm like, come on, man, this is it. This could be the next big thing, right? But I guess what I decide to do with it from this point going forward will determine whether that idea will come to life or it would die just an idea. But creative thinking is a great process where you think creatively, where you think analytically, looking at situations and finding solutions. Because when you keep yourself in the midst of frustrations, you will never find that solution of where you're supposed to go. Slow down, rest, and re-energize to avoid burnouts. Most times, when you're on a roll, you want to keep going and keep going and keep going, whether you're making the right decisions or wrong decisions along the way or making mistakes. You don't care as long as you are making momentum, as long as you are making that progress. Sometimes it's good to slow down. The boat is still moving, but you've just slowed down just to listen to the words, just to listen to your heart, just to ask the questions. Am I doing the right thing? Is the progress that we make the correct one, or we need to pivot? When you do that, you have new zest, new ideas. You increase the speed. You know exactly where you are going because you have allowed yourself to rest. I was reading somewhere a statement that says, if you don't give yourself rest when you need it, your body will decide to rest for you. And half the time when your body begins to rest, it means you've fallen sick. You can't do what you're supposed to do because you never gave yourself rest. You reached a point where you burn out and you can't do it anymore. Instead of just taking a bit, sit back, relax, see things from a new eyes, from a new perspective. And voila, the momentum just start increasing. Start pushing through it. Stay healthy. Health is the greatest part of our lives. If we want to progress and enjoy the fruits of our labor, we need to check our health, man. From time to time, get checked. Eat right. Staying healthy doesn't mean to get checked, but you have to eat right every single day. Do your veggies, whatever it is that you're supposed to do it right, and it will help you to progress. But a lot of us, imagine you not exercising, not even exercising your brain by reading, exercising your body by doing different kind of exercises. Your body will give in to stress, will give in to these BPs and all sorts of illness, and you eventually break down. Inspirational activities. Again, that creative thinking can only flow through you when you find inspiration. Go out there and find inspiration, and momentum will remain. Let it be you who controls the speed at which you want to move, not situations that detect the speed that you're going to move at. Because the moment that happens, you've already lost control of your boat. So it's good to find those inspirational moments, to find that rhythm where you get inspiration. Go for a walk with nature. Go for a run, in the morning. Review your goals. When you don't review your goals and this thing is too big for you, you haven't broken it down into something that makes sense. Like I'm saying, make it easy, make it simple. Don't make it complicated. Have that big thing there, but do the simpler things that will just get you out of debt, or that will just help you to be financially independent. You just do buy and selling a few things, it improves your life. Or you do chickens, whatever it is, do the simpler things. Let's not complicate this whole life, man. Simplify it. But when you have blinkers and you're overwhelmed with this big goal that is not producing any money for you, you keep losing, you keep bleeding. You have good days and bad days, man. We all do. You have days when you're so inspired, you can bring down that mountain. You can literally see yourself just breaking it apart. Then you have those days that are bad, you know? It's like the world is crashing on you. You still have to find a way to have momentum. The reason why I like jogging, there are different strategies for sports. Like running. If you want to be an Usain Bolt who runs very fast in a short period of time, I guess you have to train for a long time. The training regimen is different for someone who is jogging. Most times life is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So when you understand where you need to sprint, when you're getting almost to the finish line, give everything, sprint, perfect. But throughout this journey, man, come on, jog. And when you're still building muscle, there's nothing wrong with you doing fast walks and slow walks and mixing it up. Just like me, when I'm going out there, I'm like, it's not all jogging, At some point, I do fast walks, I do a bit of slow walks. But as long as I'm moving, as I'm getting to my destination, that's all there is for me. Look at your life from a zoomed out position. Change the viewpoint. If it's business, get out of the business. Look at it from this point. What do I see? Oh, okay. If I can move that piece, that chess piece, if I can do this, maybe I need that pawn there. That's the thing that is going to make us excel. Look at your life from that perspective. Don't always continue being in the middle of it without seeing from a different vantage point. Someone comes and tell you, look, why don't we do this? Because you've got blinkers. You are right in there. You don't see that this could be the next thing. Find small wins. As long as you're winning every single day, you're making progress. As long as you're winning every single day, you're gaining momentum. Add those small wins together. They amount to something gigantic. That's why I like this book, Atomic Habits. It has given me a different mindset to life that if I lose today, it's okay. But I have to do more of the right thing, more of these small wins every single day. But if I lose today, it's okay. As long as I wake up tomorrow and go out there and do what I'm supposed to do. Mentorship. You need that support. When you are broken, when you don't have a solution, sometimes it's good to hear people talking to you. Mentorship comes in different forms and different ways. These days with the internet, I go on the internet, I learn how to run before I even go out there. I learn about cycling before I even go out there. You can learn so many things. All you need to do is to have that desire to learn, to connect with different ones. There are different programs, master program that you can get from different places. You connect with people in different parts of the world. Slowing down is not stopping. COVID-19 was a disruptor. It caused our life to spiral. The entire world came to a halt. But for those who had the foresight during COVID, business never slowed down. I remember for us in solar, we started coming up with work from home packages. There was a crisis for electricity in Zim. And, we started coming up with different ideas, different opportunities started coming up and showing up. We did some projects during COVID. So you always have to find opportunities, even in those situations that want to break you down. This young man called Kabi, this one, yeah, that's the one, Kabi, working for a factory. And during COVID, a lot of people lost their jobs, hey? But the question, you losing that job, was it a blessing in disguise? And yes, the momentum is lost because you're fired, but you can pivot. The young man pivoted. Social media, guys, it's a tool. If you know how to use it, it becomes a game changer. From a factory boy to a millionaire, making these mimes, starting to get noticed, starting to get traction at the right time, at the right moment. Because COVID kept people in the houses, people were flipping, going through their screens a lot. And that was the opportunity. For some of us and others, we never saw an opportunity. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. That there will be things that will disrupt your life. You get fired, you get sick, or you personally cause yourself to get to this place where you lose momentum. What do you do from there? How do you make sure you begin to gain the progress that you need? Right, talk to me. Come on, man. So if you have gone through a midlife crisis, and just like me, I've lost this momentum in different areas that I was just talking about, I would love to hear from you. Which areas have you lost momentum? Have you lost your progress? This is 2024. I said start to finish is about starting something and reaching some form of finish line. And my hunger in my heart is to see all of us reaching our goals. Let this be the year where you don't drop the ball and get into a stasis mode, but let this be the year where you are going to make progress and reach the finish line.